Hello everyone and welcome to the in-depth review of the reMarkable paper tablet. If you haven't seen already, I made an early preview, first impressions and unboxing video, so you can check that in case you're interested. And if you don't know what reMarkable is an e-ink paper tablet. Basically the whole point of the device is to simulate paper feel. That's the whole focus of the device. Okay, we have a lot to cover in the video and it's long as it is, so let's get cracking. Okay, let's start with the packaging. I'm not going to go too much into details because if you are interested in all of the details about the packaging, you can check the first impressions video that I did previously. So yeah, packaging, I love, and it's really cool. Next. Again, details on the sleeve and the impressions on the build quality. It's really good, premium materials, feels very good. The only slight nibble that I have with it is that reMarkable has a USB port on the bottom. There is no hole for USB charging. When you charge the reMarkable, it has to be outside of the sleeve. Really tiny thing, and it doesn't matter that much since it charges extremely quickly, but still something that I just noticed and wanted to mention. The pen fits nicely here on top. It's very hard for it to fall off. I don't know over time what's it gonna be, but for now it feels nice and snug and secure. Now onto the design and ergonomics of the reMarkable tablet itself. It's a beautiful piece of design for me. I love it. I really love it. The build quality is very sturdy. It does not flex. It does not twist at all. The sides and the top are plastic. The back is, I guess, aluminum. And it has two nice rubber feet so that when you set it down, that it doesn't scratch your aluminum or metal surface, which is very nice to have. The buttons on the bottom, 3 buttons here. They are plastic as well, but the fit is really good, very precisely made, and yeah, very nice and focused feel and finish. Dimensions I think are spot on. There was one of the comments, why wasn't it in a larger format? I think it would not be okay. This 10.3 display is perfect fit, and it really just works for me. No matter what I do, if you can hold it with one hand, the combination of weight for this device, it's extremely light and extremely adequate, and the balance, more importantly, it's equally balanced. So basically wherever you hold it and however you hold it, it just stays in your hand. And this is particularly important if you're holding it as a notebook, that you can actually write with the other hand and use it exactly as a notepad. And I've noticed in more than one occasion when I was using it during the last 3 days, I would simply forget about it, that it's a tablet, that it's anything like that. I'm simply using it as a notepad, and I see that increasingly happening over time. More I use it, more I stop thinking about what it is, what it can do, and I simply use it. And I don't think that would have been possible if the weight, ergonomics, and the design and the size overall wasn't spot on. And this, for me at least, is absolutely spot on. The design and the ergonomics of the pen are, again, excellent for me. I have used Microsoft Surface for many years, and one of the big problems that I had was the actual pen itself. Let's forget about connectivity and all that kind of stuff, because it's a Bluetooth on Surface, not here. Here you don't have to do anything. You simply take the pen. There's no batteries or anything. There's literally nothing. You just take a pen and you write. That's it. On Surface I had a problem also. It was a nice brushed aluminum and it's a really fancy feel, but that pen was a little bit too heavy and it was always slipping out of my fingers and it didn't feel good. I tend to write a bit harder, so I press a bit harder, and I always had the problem of fingers slipping. And the additional problem as well was the 2 buttons that the pen had. I would inadvertently trigger them or something like that, and it just didn't feel right. This is just a pen. Again, the same feeling like with the reMarkable itself. You take the pen, and the pen is for writing. And very, 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 very quickly, you stop thinking about the technology behind it, you stop thinking about the pressure points, about this, about that, and you simply are using the tool. I find that very impressive and really, really commendable. The design is super simple. Exchangeable tips are here, and you always have, you just pop this one open, you slide it up, and there's, I don't know if you can see it, there we go, and there's the reserve tip. And basically you can always carry a reserve tip in your pen, and with the package you also get 8 additional tips for the pen and a tool to remove them. I tried it and it works perfectly, again super easy, and so top marks for the pen design as well. Okay, so that's all nice and dandy, but how does it actually work in reality? How does it feel? How does it perform? It's a reader, it can serve as a notebook for writing, and it can also serve as a sketchpad. As a reader, it just works brilliant. I love e-ink displays, there's nothing quite like them, and this one stacks very, very nicely. It's quite responsive, I think it really works well. It takes a little while to load heavier PDFs, but once they're loaded it actually works fine, and a half a gig of RAM actually is more than capable to run even heavy PDFs which are loaded with images and things like that. I find that the images are converted very, very nicely, minimal amount of artifacts. There's only a handful of situations where I have experienced that that you would get some kind of ghosting. And so this here would be a practical example of dithering where it shows up, but this image itself is not that great to begin with. So whenever there's really usable images, they just work very, very nicely. I've also noticed that, for example, here I have a really large document which is 646 pages long, and it's about 100 megs or so. Full of pictures, full of different kind of stuff, and it's a user manual for a car. It transferred, imported without any problems, no hiccups, no nothing, and it just works. In the top bar you can see the little 3 dots, which has become standard symbol for menu, so there's no surprise. You get the additional tools that describe what you can do with the page that you're at. So you can crop, which is a really useful feature. You actually determine an overall crop of the document, and then that kind of crop is maintained throughout the document, but it doesn't modify it. So you can back out of it at any given time. Landscape, it doesn't rotate the document, it just places the toolbars on the landscape side. I couldn't actually get the live view to work. It kept trying to connect, disconnect, so I can't really comment on that one. But I've seen other reviews showing that it actually works very nice. The idea is that between your mobile or your desktop app, modifications that you do on the document here or elsewhere are translated and synced in real time over all of the devices that are connected to your account, which means your mobile, desktop, and the reMarkable itself. And rename works as you would expect. You tap it and your keyboard appears, you type in the name, and that's pretty much it. You have OK and you have the X for cancel, and that's it. Simple. Next to the menu bar and the options, you have a little grid button. When pressed, the grid button in document mode gives you an overview of all pages, so you can actually see the pages and you can flip through them up and down, and you can also change the display mode so that they are displayed as a list. For each page you have also the options, which when pressed will give you options for that page. So you can actually, once you select one, you can actually perform multiple selections by just tapping or select, deselect. Basically, effectively, as soon as you tap one of them, you're in a select mode. So let's say that I want to select these 3 pages. So it's like page 2, page 5, 6, and 8. And you will see the options. The top bar will tell you what options you have available in the current action. This works The same for the notebook, for the sketchbook, for whatever. For the documents, you can simply share and you can send it as an email. The important part to know is that if you just press on one page, it will open that page. However, if you press on the menu itself, on those three dots, that's when you actually get into the select mode. And then you can actually tap, once you've entered the select mode, you can tap wherever you want within that one and it will work fine. This functionality is exactly the same in grid mode and in the list mode. So you can simply tap the three little dots and it acts as a selection. I really enjoyed the experience of using reMarkable as a reader, and especially like the readability of it, how it doesn't strain your eyes, yet it's very, very clearly visible. You can always get the tools out of your view, and then you have the full overview of the page. Left button is the page back, right button is page forward, and middle button is always getting you back to home. As a notebook, it really works well. It offers you a ton of templates that you can work with. Convenient shortcut when in a notebook, when you already have a page that you've written on, a shortcut to simply start a new page is you just press the next page button and it opens up, generates a new page with the same template that you've used, and you just continue writing. So it's literally like turning a page over in a notebook. Overall menu, top menu is pretty much the same. You have your brushes here, we will get into that later, but you get your quick sheets or your sheet or notebook name. Then you can add a page. You can also add a page that way, or you can have the grid overview, which works in the exact same manner as the document. So you can have it as a grid display, as a list display. You can select one page, multiple pages, and this time you can also delete them because they are editable. When you're on a new page, again, it's the same concept as everything else. You, next to the name, document name, in this case the quick sheets, you press the options and then you will see the options that are allowed for that type of document and that type of page. You can do the live view, you can do the landscape, same functionality as before, except that now you have the templates button. There's a really wide array of options available both in landscape and in portrait mode. Too many for me to actually go through, but you have really a lot, including the notes. So if you're actually composing or writing a music composition, you can actually have a notation sheet here as well, which is absolutely brilliant. LS stands of course for landscape, while P stands for portrait mode. That's an easy way to understand which template you want to choose depending on the mode that you want to work in. Once you've selected your template, then you can simply write as you would normally in any given notebook. You take your pen and you write on any angle or whatever it is that you want to do. Writing experience on reMarkable is amazing because it truly feels like nothing else I've tried before. You are connected. What you are writing is definitely connected to your fingertips, to your hand, and to the pen. So basically, that kind of connection, what you see and what you're doing, is definitely there. And this is the absolutely first time that I've actually experienced that. So if I pick it up and I start scribbling, it doesn't matter. There's no weirdness of the screen at all, and the device does not bend or twist or anything like that. It feels very solid, and because of the weight that I mentioned and the design overall, you're able to really confidently hold it in your hand and take notes, which is extremely important because I can see a lot of students in colleges or people at meetings or whatever. You are able to take this on the go and take your notes as you would normally. So that's a big plus for me on how this thing performs as an electronic notebook. So thumbs up for that. This type of writing definitely works exactly the same way on the document as well. So if you wanted to, you could, for example, take a thicker brush, circle the area that you want to get the attention to, make an arrow, and then switch to a pen and add your comment here, if somebody could actually read that. And the cool thing is that as soon as you exit, the system will sync up, and this modification will be in the PDF that is synced there. Now, the thing that really surprised me and I really liked was that after I had made the change to the PDF page and it has been synced up all over the devices, when I return to it here on reMarkable, I can take the eraser and hit erase page, and it would erase the modifications that I've done. So it does remember the writing as probably as a separate layer, so you are able to actually delete those things afterwards if you want to. As a sketchpad for drawing, I find that it really excels. The sensitivity and the way that the pen behaves is absolutely perfect. You can actually get very nice brush strokes, and these act like real ink. You can see how detailed and how precise that is, and additionally this brush has the texture as well, so then you get some kind of feel of a paper here, which is really nice. I'm gonna try and see if I can capture this on camera, but if I simply press the pen tip down, you can see how the ink actually, it behaves as almost the paper is absorbing the ink, and it's really incredible. I love that feel. Look at this. So attention to detail that went into getting the fine nuances of these brushes for sketching, for drawing, it's impressive. Truly impressive. Because of this versatility, that translates directly into versatility of a single brush as well. So don't be fooled by thinking, oh, there's only 3 brush types. Yes, they are only 3 or 4 types of brushes, but they are extremely versatile brushes that are behaving the way they should. So really powerful tools. When you first start the reMarkable, you will be greeted by the home screen, and this would be the home screen, and this would be Maka. Hello, Maka. So I wanted to show you the home screen, but then Maka decided to actually make an appearance as well. So yeah, this is Maka herself. I'm gonna try and continue to do the review normally, but if any of you have cats, you'll know that this might turn funky. But anyway, new backdrop. When you start reMarkable, this is the home screen. That's the first thing that you'll see. This is where your documents are. This is your basically browser, if you will. RM logo is basically you tap on RM and you enter settings. Device, account, Wi-Fi, battery, storage, security, keyboard, accessibility, and about. And you exit by pressing close. Here you have shortcuts for new folder, new notebook, new quick sheet. Display, as everything else, can be switched from tab view to list view. And again, it works exactly the same as before. You can tab and select several of the options. In the bottom left, you have your Wi-Fi info, battery, and Wi-Fi signal. And of course, you have the search bar, and you can just type in the search when you're looking for a document that's a particular name. I think it's really important to actually understand how to organize things because I can see quickly this becoming a little bit cluttered, but thankfully they've made it really easy to do that. So all you need to do is you tap to create a new folder. So I tap on the side and I select rename. Let's say user manuals. Now, one thing that I've noticed, and you've probably noticed too on the video, is that even though the refresh rate of an ink display is a little bit slower than what we're used to on OLED and LED displays, but the actual responsiveness of the device, of the keyboard itself, is super precise and super fast. So it's actually much faster than what the display shows you, and in all honesty, I have yet to mistype something. So I created my user manuals folder. Let's zoom out a little. And now I want to select the items that I want to move into that folder. So that would be this guy. I tap on the side. This, and this. These are my user manuals. And you'll see in the upper corner you have bookmark, move, delete. So I want to move them. It will tell me where do you want to move them, and I want to move them here. This is my destination. It asks move here. I say move here, they are moved there, and now when I go back to my files, suddenly we are organized. And you'll notice that if I create another folder, which is here, empty folders are white, folders that have files in them are marked with the black color. On the side you have the filter by. The filter will show you all of the documents that you have on the device, regardless of how they are organized and where they are placed. So my files is your sorted place, filter by is simply going where you want to go. I think that in combination with ability to sort through with folders, to search by name and to filter by type, I think you pretty much have everything that you need to, and it's super responsive, extremely easy to work with. Once you're in a folder structure, you can have folders, subfolders, you can sort by size, sort by name, sort by probably date as well, last update, yeah. So you have all the normal things that you would normally need. Thumbs up for that, I really like that. Overall, I found that the user experience is really pleasant, and the learning curve was really fast. There wasn't much to adapt to once you actually understood where's what and you get your hands into it and you start. Basically all you need to do is just use it for a little bit and you get very much used to it and it becomes your own kind of thing. So I really like the user interface at the moment. That being said, current codex version is 0.0.4.81. So we're talking about a super early version here. So I expect that all of the minor problems and quibbles that I've encountered while testing the unit and using it will be addressed over time when at least we reach a version 1.0. When you enter any type of a document, you will have your toolbar on your left hand side and on the upper corner of the screen. So on the left hand side you have your brush types: marker, eraser, transform tool, zoom, undo, redo, layers, and the little triangle at the bottom is basically serves to minimize the toolbar. This is really handy for ebooks and PDFs, documents, and things like that. On the top part you have the different subcategories for each of the tools that you select on the left side. Name of the sheet. The three dots here are the options for the sheet. New page, grid view, or show all pages as they call it, and close the document. Also in the upper left corner, this button here is to minimize or basically hide the toolbar completely or bring it back. Very handy. On the reMarkable, we have three main brush types. The first type of stroke, that they call it, is the pen stroke. And the pen stroke is this one here. And you'll notice that here we have three icons. This one here is changing the color, black, gray, white. The size, small, medium, large. And this is the important one. This is the subtype, or basically the different type of a stroke in the pen. You have the ballpoint, the marker, and the felt tip. So the ballpoint is the first one and the default one, and it's a typical pen. It has some pressure sensitivity, not a lot. So basically if you just type, you can see that there's a little bit of a difference, but it's for your regular writing and it doesn't react differently to tilt. It's just normal ballpoint pen. Now if I switch to the second one, it's called the marker, and the marker is really interesting. It has texture depending on the speed and the pressure. So this is slow, this is fast. And you will notice that there are, well, I don't know how much you can see, but there are definitely differences in the texture itself. Marker really reacts well on the tilt of the pen itself. The final pen type that we have is called the felt tip, and that's a rounded, even stroke that has no texture whatsoever, regardless of the tilt. And this is for clean writing and signatures and things like that. It's also really good for straight lines if you want these even types of lines. So very, very useful and versatile tool. The next tool is the pencil. And this is here, and you'll see as soon as I pick the pencil, now we have only two subtypes to choose from. So I can choose the size. Let's choose the size here to large so that we can see it normally. There's no color choosing, but you'll see shortly why. And there's two types of a pencil. The first pencil is a sharp pencil, and it just gives the same continuous stroke thickness while drawing or writing, regardless of the pressure, regardless of the speed, and regardless of the tilt. However, the one that's really, really interesting is the tilt pencil. Now, tilt pencil reacts to speed, pressure, and the tilt, and more importantly, on overdrawing. So this is very light, pressure, light. Where it really, really excels is the tilt. So in the tilt, a combination of the tilt and the pressure you can, and the overdraw that you can do, it really starts behaving like a real pen. So basically you can fade it out into nothing. Let's try. It's hard from this angle, but it's much easier when you're actually not drawing it for a camera. You can have a much more sensitive pressure point, but you can do really, really nice things. So, and of course it reacts to the speed. I really, really, really love this. And it tracks the curvature of your move, of your stroke. You can do amazing things. Now the only thing I lack is smudge. And finally we have the brush type, which has no subtypes, only one. You can choose the size and you can choose the color here. And this is a brush texture that's reactive, that's sensitive to speed and the pressure that you apply to the digital paper. Not really that much on a tilt, but you can see, for example, if I start light, then press heavy, and then release, it definitely reacts to the pressure. So let's try a quick and heavy, like this. You can see that there's texture. If I do the same but slow, you can see that there's no texture there. You also, if you just press it, you can see how it fills up like ink. Very nice. Because you have different colors, you can start with the black, and let's switch now to medium size and add a little bit of here. I have no idea what I'm drawing, but just some shapes. And then you add, let's say, white highlights here. And with the pressure, you can add as much as you want. Next tool to cover is a marker, and marker actually just is for highlighting text, so it's basically a highlighter. You also have an eraser, and you have three types of erasers. A normal eraser, the default one, it works like a brush. You can choose the brush size here. The cool thing here is that as long as you have your stroke active, you will see what has been erased, and as soon as you lift, that thing is gone. The next type of eraser is a region. You mark a region and it erases it, and the final type is to erase the whole page, or basically it clears the layer. Under the eraser we have the transform tool, or something that they call a rotate, move, scale, and copy. In order to demonstrate that, let's just draw a single simple shape. So let's, I don't know, make something like this. So I have this simple shape here, and if I select the Move, Copy, Rotate, Scale tool, it works really nicely. You draw a selection around a certain area, and it will encompass all of the strokes. This is important, all of the strokes that are within the selected area. Now this rectangle now becomes your transform tool that you can use to move, rotate, scale, and copy. So you can see that you have corner squares, you have a circle on top, and you have a square with a plus sign on the bottom. If you tap and hold within the selection set and you move around, that will move your object. If you click and hold on any of the outer squares and you start to move them out or in, that will scale up or down your selection set. If you click and hold on the upper circle, that's your rotation tool. So you can rotate around the center. To my knowledge, I haven't found a way how to change the pivot point of what you rotate around. So it just rotates around the center. And if you click on plus, it makes a copy. Now it doesn't really notify you at all that you have a copy, but if you now click and hold and you move it out of place, you will see that you have a copy that has been made. So you make another copy and then you move it into here, another copy, and you move it over there. So that's your copies there. If I'm done with this and I maybe want to select everything here as a new selection set, all you need to do is tap on outside of the current selection set while still in the transform tool, make a new selection, and now this is your current selection and you can perform all of the operations that we've talked about. After the transform tool comes the zoom, and zoom works in several different ways. You can click the plus to zoom in, click the minus to zoom out. It will open up a preview of the entire canvas and your zoomed area, so you can click and drag that and move it around if you want to. You can change the zoom value here to maybe, I don't know, 300% if I wanted to. Now the responsiveness here is not that great. So that's something that I've noticed, that it's way too slow to actually get something usable out of it in a way. So what I actually find more practical is not to use the plus and minus zooms, but I actually like to use the zoom region tool. And that one works pretty much exactly like anything else. You mark the region and it zooms in there. Now the interesting part here is that it will refresh the strokes themselves. Now these are very, very grainy because I used a huge pen. But the really cool thing is now, when you are in a really zoomed in level, and let's say I select I think that was called feather pen tool or something really fine, and I start drawing something with a lot of fine details, and I'm certain that you can envision something far more creative, but I am quite tired and I had a very long day, so for whatever reason I'm drawing a bacteria. Whatever. The cool thing is that now when you zoom out, you will see that the precision that was drawn, you achieve incredible level of precision. So this is, I understand, not an ideal example, I agree. You can only imagine what you can do when you are feeling less tired and more creative than I am at the moment. After the zoom tool come the undo and redo, and they work as normally. One tap for undo or redo returns undos or redos a stroke. Pretty simple. Then you have layers. Layers work exactly as in Photoshop. You can create new layer with plus. Next to the layer name you have a trash can. That's the way to delete that layer. Once you tap it, reconfirm that you really want to delete it. You tap on delete and it deletes it for you. So you can set the active layer by tapping on what you like, and also you can tap on the eye icon to make a layer visible or invisible. And then finally we come down to the little arrow, which I already showed, which minimizes your toolbar or expands it back. Battery life is indicated to be a week, and I have to say that I was unable to achieve that kind of battery life. On the contrary, I had to recharge it twice so far. That being said, it recharged super quickly. But I suspect that my issue of the battery draining quickly is most likely connected with another issue that I have as well regarding Wi-Fi, and I will get into that more in more detail. So, because of the situation the way it is, for my particular case, I can't say with any certainty if the 1 week battery life is something that works or not, because obviously I think that I'm in a particular situation where me claiming one way or the other wouldn't simply be fair or objective. Before wrapping up, I would like to just go over a couple of the goods and the bads that I've experienced. The good sides of this device are many. As far as I'm concerned, it has surpassed and met all of my expectations. From the design and the construction itself, the rigidity, the durability, the weight, just how it feels in the hand, tactile responsiveness to you, and the screen, the visibility, the crispness of the screen, how the pen interacts with the screen, the sensitivity of the pen, the strokes, the everything, pretty much everything that it's supposed to be is really spot on for me. Exactly what I was looking for. What surprised me about it was the usability in real world and several side effects that you have because it's such a focused device, because you don't have any LEDs, no notifications, no blinking, no sounds, nothing, like literally nothing. Your mind is free to focus on what you are doing, and as a byproduct of that you have no constant distractions and that you can actually achieve a prolonged focus of thought. I find reMarkable to be inspiring device because it attains that focus, it kind of captures your focus, and it allows you to explore the inspiration, the idea, and whatever it is that you are working with. For reading, I found it easily readable with a normal night lamp. I simply find this device, above all, inspiring and freeing because of the lack of all the distractions that it has, and that's exactly what I was looking for. So for me, it's perfect as far as that. Now, for the bad sides, minor problems that I have with the user interface are, for example, when you're in the settings, when you enter the settings, the home button doesn't return you to home, but you actually have to press the close, and then you are back home, which is not a big deal, but it's just slightly annoying, and it's a super easy thing to fix. For example, if you tap on the Wi-Fi connectivity status that's on the bottom left corner, it doesn't bring you to your Wi-Fi settings, but you actually have to go to the settings menu and adjust the Wi-Fi. So really tiny things like that, nothing major at all. The only thing that I would really like to see changed is the fact that when you're in a drawing session or a writing session, it doesn't matter, as soon as you change your brush type, so let's say that you go from pen to pencil, and you return them to the pen, it will forget your previous settings. So that's a little bit annoying, and that can hinder the drawing experience, especially if you're going back and forth. So that's something that I really hope that they will fix. And for me, I think it would be really cool if the reMarkable would kind of remember the last used setting per session. So once you restart the device and you open a new notebook, of course it will start with defaults, but as long as you're in the same session, in the same document, I think it would be normal for it to remember the last setting used or the last settings used for each of the brushes, so that you don't have to always change things back and forth. The only major issue that I have is, I think, related to some strange settings or some strange incompatibility that the reMarkable currently has with some of my Wi-Fi settings. And I've noticed that it directly, if I am connected to a certain Wi-Fi network, it directly interferes with stroke sensitivity, which is a big problem. So basically I noticed that as I drew some strokes would just remain unregistered. Basically, they were skipped. So I investigated and tried problem solving and troubleshooting it, and I did a lot of testing until I finally realized that if as soon as I disconnect from the Wi-Fi, the problem is gone, and the sensitivity and registering of all strokes is absolutely perfect. Like, didn't miss a single beat, nothing at all. But as soon as I connected 2G or 5G on the Wi-Fi home network that I have, it would be immediately there. So then I added another test, which was hook up the reMarkable to my phone's hotspot. Then I was connected on Wi-Fi and didn't have any problems with registration of the strokes. So that obviously means that there's some strange incompatibility or some kind of setting that's not shaking hands in a friendly way with the reMarkable at this time. So there's some incompatibility with one of my Wi-Fi networks and the current reMarkable OS. I have reported the issue to reMarkable, and I'm absolutely certain that they are working on it. So I'm going to send as much detail as I can, but given the fact that I sent it 48 hours ago, I don't really expect a response yet, because it's still way too early. But that being said, I also tested it on a different Wi-Fi network, a public type network. I didn't have that problem again at all. It just worked perfectly. And also I noticed that if I'm connected to the problematic Wi-Fi network, that's my home, but I couldn't get the live view to work because it was disconnect, connect, disconnect, connect. And this brings me back to the battery issue that I mentioned. If there is some kind of miscommunication that is forcing the reMarkable to continually try and communicate with a Wi-Fi network, that would reasonably cause a battery drain. I didn't have time to test how it behaves if it's continually connected on my hotspot or something like that, but I'm pretty much certain I've seen this happen in other devices as well. When there is an incompatibility problem between a device and a Wi-Fi network, that can cause a battery drain really quickly. I'm fairly certain that the battery issue is directly connected to the Wi-Fi connectivity issue that I have. As soon as I have some updates regarding this, I will post them and let you guys know. Another issue is not really an issue, but it's just a silly oversight. Currently, the user manual of reMarkable is online, and it's not in a PDF format. You actually have to search for reMarkable Paper Tablet PDF user manual, and then you will find a site that actually has it. But as it is on reMarkable's site, the user manual is simply a web page. But since reMarkable can't connect to the internet, you have to use a different device to read the user manual. So basically what I advise you to do, if this is not corrected by the time you get your reMarkable, simply go to that website, just do a Google search, you'll find it. Google reMarkable Paper Tablet User Manual PDF, and you'll find it. Drop it into the reMarkable either on your mobile or on your desktop syncing software, and it will just sync up and you will have it in your reMarkable. And then you can read the user manual on the paper tablet. Silly oversight, but I really hope that they include it because it just makes perfect sense. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it. That's the full in-depth review, all of the impressions, the goods, the bads, and all of the features that I could cover with reMarkable. In summary, I absolutely love this device. It's now going everywhere with me. I constantly doodle, I can sketch up ideas, I feel a lot more free. It's a very personal type of device, for me at least. It's something that I get attached to. And I immediately had an attachment to this one. As soon as after the first day of using it, I immediately felt attached to it, and it's not a thing that happens often. Usually the device grows on you, or some never do. It just remains a thing. reMarkable for me is definitely not that. It's got a personality. As simple as it is, it has something about it. I hope that you like this video, and I hope that you find some useful information about it. I certainly enjoyed using the reMarkable and making this video. That's it from me. Thanks for watching and thanks for the support. Until next time, take care. Bye.